All right, we have some tragic but unfortunately very predictable news. 3 U.S. service members have been pronounced dead and 5 more wounded after the United States and Israel launched joint military strikes after Donald Trump and Bibi Netanyahu in particular decided to subvert Congress, not tell other countries, not inform, the Democrats in the United States what they were doing, and decided to launch a regional conflict in the Middle East. Iran immediately retaliated and struck U.S. air bases and naval bases throughout the Middle East. And now the newest update is that 3 U.S. service members have died. A CENTCOM update from U.S. Central Command, the Pentagon, says Tampa, Florida, as of 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, March 1st, 3 U.S. service members have been killed in action and 5 are seriously wounded as a part of Operation Epic Fury. Now, we don't actually know whether they were killed in retaliatory strikes from Iran. We don't know exactly which region, which area, which country they were killed in yet. This information will continue to come out throughout the day, but one thing is very certain. This was due to Donald Trump. This was due to J.D. Vance, due to Marco Rubio. These were unnecessary deaths. This was an unforced death that Donald Trump caused himself. Bibi Netanyahu caused himself. For some more breaking news that's just popping up on my screen, Iranian officials just formed a transitional council to lead the country after their supreme leader has been killed. 3 U.S. service members were killed, 5 more are seriously wounded, and Israel is right now carrying out a new wave of strikes in the heart of Tehran as Iran unleashes fresh attacks after the supreme leader's killing. So this regional conflict is continuing to escalate, and this is due to Donald Trump. One of the Democratic representatives said on CNN yesterday, I thought this was striking, they said, Bibi Netanyahu has asked multiple presidents over decades to strike Iran, to go to war with Iran. None of them were dumb enough to bite except for Donald Trump. Now he is going to face the political consequences, and American families are facing the on-the-ground consequences. So again, CENTCOM update. 3 U.S. service members have been killed in action, and 5 are seriously wounded. Several others sustained minor shrapnel injuries and concussions and are in the process of being returned to duty. Major combat operations continue, and our response effort is ongoing. The situation is fluid, so out of respect for the families, we will withhold additional information, including the identities of our fallen warriors, until the 24 hours after next of kin have been notified. This was Trump 30 hours ago, making the announcement that we were attacking Iran, and he said, quote, "The lives of American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war." This is not a war that we needed to start. This was an illegal, unconstitutional war that has resulted in U.S. service members dying. Do you think Trump gives a shit? No, he doesn't. Watch this clip, and then we'll bring in a law student to break down the illegality of this entire situation. So watch until the end. Make sure you drop a like to help boost our message, and I promise we will continue to cover this relentlessly and factually.
Seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war, but we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran.
He's quite literally doing the meme where he says, some people might have to die, but that's a burden I'm willing to take. He is saying the lives of Americans may be lost and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. Well, Trump, you unilaterally started this war in an illegal manner, and now you have to face the consequences. To break down the illegality of this war even further, there is no one better to talk to than Micah Irfan, our lead policy advisor, who is not only a law student studying this type of stuff, but is also an Iranian American. We've made videos about his ties to the region, and he has unique insights. Okay, first, let's just talk about the illegality of this. Can you break down how Trump can't just do this?
Yeah, I mean, this might be the most brazenly illegal act of the Trump administration, and we've seen a lot of illegal activity by him and his cabinet. In the Constitution, in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11, it says Congress shall have the power to start wars, to initiate armed conflicts. That's one of the enumerated powers of Congress. And who started this war? Trump described it as a war. It wasn't just an operation. He said it was a war. He started it himself unilaterally. You cannot do that. When it comes to past presidents like Barack Obama and George H.W. Bush, whenever we had conflicts in the Middle East, there was some congressional authorization that they tied that conflict to, and they called it a special military operation. In this case, there is no authorization, and it's not even a special military operation. It is just a war. And now what some Republicans are pointing to, like Congressman Mike Lawler, is they're saying, look, guys, there's this War Powers Act statute that exists that says the president can start wars, and then they just have to get permission from Congress in like 60 or 90 days. But that's actually not true, because I have the statute right here, and what it says is that the president can start an armed conflict if it's because of an emergency caused by an attack on American service members, or Congress has authorized it in some other way. There is no congressional authorization, and this was a completely unprovoked attack on Iran. As an Iranian, I despise the Iranian regime, but that cannot cloud the fact that this was completely unprovoked and completely illegal. And the only appropriate remedy for this kind of unconstitutional violation of our laws is impeachment. Congress and the Senate specifically need to step up and do their job and remove this president from office.
And now it's like double whammy. So not only was the impetus of this illegal, but now U.S. service members have died due to an unnecessary illegal action taken by Donald Trump. If this happened through the proper channels, if this happened the right way, we might have those 3 service members still alive. We need to sit Donald Trump's ass down and ask him questions like Hillary Clinton had to do regarding Benghazi. So we've seen 3 U.S. service members die in just 30 hours. What's the risk of an actual on-the-ground war? Say this turned into another Iraq. What would that look like in terms of numbers?
I mean, it would be absolutely catastrophic. Already 100 school children in Iran have died. The Trump administration and some Israeli sources were saying that was because of Iran. Now we know it actually was because of their strikes. These types of conflicts harm the civilian population. In Iraq, around 300,000 people died. That's over 150,000 civilian deaths, people that were non-combatants. Iran is a country that's 4 times the size, twice the population, and the militarization of Iranian society is so much more powerful than Saddam Hussein's regime in Iraq. And the terrain is also worse. So if you were to have an on-the-ground conflict in Iran, 300,000 people will die easily, potentially even more.
Yeah, and obviously everybody's hoping it doesn't turn into a full-blown war that ends up resulting in hundreds of thousands of deaths. But what is Trump going to do now? He's not somebody who de-escalates. He's not somebody who is going to just like let this go. You talked about how he may forget this in a few weeks, but after 3 U.S. service members died, I feel like he has to respond in some way. So you think we see a retaliatory response from the U.S., right? And then do you think Trump will kind of just from there, fizzle out, forget about it?
Yeah, Trump, if we've seen anything from Trump, he has extreme ADHD when it comes to foreign policy and really any policy. He doesn't think about something for more than a couple of days. This is what happened the first time when it came to the Iran strikes, right? Trump was talking about regime change. Israel was talking about regime change the first time around. And then what they say, it's about nukes, actually. That's all that we want to do. He dropped the bombs. Israel said, let's go all the way. Let's get rid of the regime. Trump said, I'm not interested anymore. Declared victory, that we completely denuclearized Iran. Same thing in Venezuela. He talked about Venezuela regime change. He said America's going to be in charge. What did he do? He kidnapped Maduro. He called it a day. He declared victory and pretended like that was the plan all along. That's the same thing that's going to happen in Iran. So what he's going to do is find the first off-ramp to say that he's won something for America. This is some sort of huge political victory. And then all the Republicans are going to point fingers at everybody who is freaking out over regime change and say, why were you freaking out? You should have trusted Trump. Well, you guys were the ones who didn't trust Trump. We were the ones who were taking what he was saying seriously. You guys knew that he was going to taco and completely chicken out at the end of the day. And what's going to happen is they're just going to leave Iran in a pretty chaotic situation. A bunch of civilians are dead. A bunch of military armaments have been used by the United States military in Israel. Some U.S. service members are dead, and a bunch of Iranian civilians are dead. And what did we get for it? The 84-year-old leader of Iran, which is a terrible tyrant, has been replaced with like a 58-year-old tyrant of Iran. I don't think anything is going to fundamentally change for the Iranian people, other than the fact that the government will be even more vigilant in oppressing them from now on.
With Mockler Media, this is Micah Irfan and Adam Mockler. Make sure you subscribe to both of us below. Thank you for your insights. We'll be going live at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern today on Sunday. So be there, be square. Love you all. Peace out.
Thanks.